All right. So what's the first thing you want to tackle then?
Sure. Yeah. I mean,
wanna
do you want to talk about Colombia, Brazil, or go right into the dating
let's
stuff?
start. Yeah, let's start with Colombia.
Sure.
Or we can even start in the States.
Sure.
What made you say I'm leaving or
Yeah.
whatever it may be? You can talk about your experience in the States, then Colombia, then how you ended up in Brazil.
And
Yeah,
tell them why
awesome.
you don't date American women.
Yeah, awesome. So I'll start with this, right? Trend setting will make you rich, successful, all that stuff. If you can spot trends, financial trends, what stocks about. Imagine if you bought Bitcoin early on or crypto. And then there could be other trends, like, for instance, in this case, let's go for cultural trends, right? Why did I leave the US? I was one of the first people to see this like toxic masculinization of women, becoming more entitled, becoming more and more uncooperative. Started around like 2014. Everyone kind of jumped on the bandwagon and realized, hey, wait a minute, like dating kind of fucking sucks. And these women are like super, super entitled and they don't behave like women and they're all hoey and super difficult to deal with. I noticed that a long time ago. I actually went to Costa Rica and it was like 2013. Just a short trip. I wasn't trying to move there. I didn't speak Spanish.
Is that what was like kind of the beginning?
Yeah, that was the beginning. That was me planting my seeds. Costa Rica, again, at least at that time, was one of like the safe, Latin American spots. And then, noticing this trend, right? Trying to like see around corners. I went to Medellin.
And at this point, where were you living in the States?
This is Los Angeles. Sorry.
You were in LA.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in the suburbs of LA. Yeah. But I did okay when I was to flashback. I did okay. I was like club promoting. I've been to Dan B's house a couple of times before he was like Dan B, bringing like hoes from like say the club. I was a club promoter.
Yeah.
So anybody in LA knows like the old school like Supper Club, One Oak, Bootsy Bellows. Anybody who knew anything about LA nightlife is in the chat like, oh yeah, no, I remember those.
Yeah.
So I was promoting for all those clubs.
Yep.
And yeah, doing after parties, getting laid pretty well. I'd say, maybe
being a
like,
promoter, if you don't got money, is one of the best ways to meet girls. And
I was taking down about 3 to 6 confirmed kills per month. I was doing pretty okay.
Okay.
And then, I saw the trend, and I just, you see these beautiful Latin women online. I've always liked Latin women. I was like big booty and brown skin. And when they talk to you in Spanish, when they call you papi, like papacito, it's like, oh, you know what I mean? Every guy knows what it means. Every guy's ever been called papi knows how that makes your DNA just kind of like, oh, when that happens, right? Anyway, so I went there and I loved it. And it was night and day. I mean, what can we say? American women, uncooperative, entitled, rude. They don't say thank you after you take them out for a nice dinner.
Yeah.
And then the opposite in Latin America, I saw the opposite. Very cooperative, very feminine, very grateful.
Definitely not all.
Yeah,
but
not
in the
all.
major
Not all, of
cities,
course, yeah.
Yeah. You're speaking generally. I mean, granted, you were in LA, and what I will say too is that like this is in any major American city, whether it's the New York City, Miami, LA,
Vegas,
where the hottest girls, Vegas, like where the hottest girls are concentrated, in major cities.
Yes.
Unfortunately, this is how they tend to behave. What I've noticed, though, what I will say this is Midwestern girls are typically
nicer,
very
mannerly.
Yeah, they're better just in general.
Yeah,
I like that. Every girl that I've met from, not every, but a good amount of them, better than half, are pretty good, down to earth, not on some bullshit, not entitled, not like girls from LA. Girls from LA are some of the worst chicks too, by the way. Of course, it's not all, but in general. But sorry, continue.
I talk about this. I have I mentioned this in videos and I might do a whole video just dedicated to this topic. I call this the small town strategy. And I'm not the first person to ever notice this. You're talking about it. My friends send me videos where people generally say the same thing, Midwestern girls or just in general small town girls. Because think about it, girls even, let's say a city like Sao Paulo, that's still, Brazil's like, second world, third world, whatever, but that's still a foreign country. You would think like, oh, I go to Sao Paulo and they're going to line up for me because I'm a gringo. Not really. That's a 20 million person city. They have successful men from all over the world. Yeah. Tall, jacked, good-looking, rich men. Sao Paulo has more heliports than any other city on the planet.
Oh, wow.
Super, super wealthy versus, and like I said, that's the type of guy she has access to, right? She's used to, eating in like luxurious restaurants. She's used to dating, tall, successful guys. Miami, yachts, fucking LA, New York, fucking forget about it, right?
Very compatible.
Versus the small town strategy. The girls there. Let me make an extreme version of the small town. I hope I can say this on YouTube, but an extreme version of the small town strategy would be, let's say, for instance, and this is a Googleable fact. Anybody can fact check me on this. Men today, to this very day, in small cities in the coastal parts of Colombia, say a little bit outside of Barranquilla, a little bit outside of Cartagena, the men, is a normal practice still to this day, they fornicate with before they have with women. They practice on animals. They do this.
What the hell?
This is a real thing. I'm not making this up. So my point being, even if I'm not the most good-looking guy, even if I'm not the tallest guy, even if I don't have the best hair, I can go to one of these smaller towns, and how, for me to outcompete the yacht owner in Miami might be a little difficult.
Yeah.
But for me to outcompete, Juan Carlos in the small pueblo outside of Barranquilla who's fornicating with animals, it's pretty easy for anybody to roll up and
That's
be like the
crazy.
rock star in that city. Like, I'm
Okay.
not, this is a true thing.
Well,
So
this is true. I mean, the way women behave is directly tied to their options. So,
Exactly,
as you as a
exactly.
man, if you come in and you're exceptional and everyone else is below you, then yeah, you're able to just do better in general. And it's sad that that's what it is. But the reason why so many women behave in major cities the way that they do is because they simply can.
they have access to those guys.
Yeah.
That's their standard.
Well, you want the advantage as a guy.
Yeah,
Because you're.
you need the advantage. Yeah.
For example, there's a saying that says, "Go where you're appreciated." And
Yeah.
for the most part, if you go to certain spots like Colombia, you're gonna be more appreciated because you're American.
Yeah.
So that makes sense.
Facts.
And you got like Walter, his sexual market value is through the roof in Miami. He's a celebrity. I can't walk
I'm not a celebrity, bro.
I can't walk 2 steps around this guy with Miami. Oh, hey, what's up? Right? Rich, multimillionaire, fleet of supercars, one of the best social medias on the planet. And he absolutely can pick up and seduce and date women in Miami. But what would you say the majority of women that you date and hook up with are from Miami? Or to this day, do you still
No,
bring
they're
a lot
all
of
like
them in?
foreigners, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
they're not from here. But to be fair though, like, would you date a Miami girl? Come on,
Who
bro.
are you talking to?
Yeah.
Where do
But-
I live?
But again, I used to live with Casey, and I could see his options were very like, you know what, has to be from outside of America, has to be like Latin. But he knew what he wanted, so having an online presence helped out a lot.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, you were talking about Costa Rica. We didn't finish going through
Yeah.
the story.
No, Costa Rica, I just went there. There's
No,
I
of course.
kinda got a
So
whole
yeah,
to say.
so then
Could
you notice that
Then I-
okay, you're in LA, girls are annoying, whatever it may be.
Could you
Continue
tell
on.
us why you prefer to leave America than
Yeah.
figure out dating here?
So you living in 4 countries does have a lot of hassles. Like, you guys have no idea how fucking spoiled you are with Amazon. If you tried to build this city in almost any other country, maybe Canada, but like if you tried to build this
build the
in
studio, you mean?
Medellin, yeah,
Okay.
the studio,
Yeah.
this camera part and this adapter and this cable and this lens, no, you couldn't even do it. So there's a lot of annoyance, but yeah, I go there for the women, bro. As far as like,
Yeah.
at this point in my life, what's important to me, love, sex, companionship.
Because he had the dating figured out in America. So, like, what made
Yeah.
you say fuck it? Because, like, obviously, if
gotcha.
you're not going to be coaching and helping out RSD if you don't know what the fuck you're doing and you can't close. And obviously, you said that you had experience with in LA. You were bringing girls to Dan Bilzerian before he became famous in 2013, et cetera. Because I think he actually blew up in like 2014.
Yeah.
So a year
Yeah, yeah.
prior, or
With
whatever.
Instagram. Yeah.
So like, and then I guess you went to Costa Rica, kind of got a glimpse of what it was like to be international. Like, what made you say, all right, I'm pulling the trigger, I'm getting the fuck up out of here?
Yeah, because let's just say, for instance, I had, a whole bunch of options here, and then like physically wise, I had the same options in another country.
Yeah.
It's the way they behave. It's the way they treat you.
Okay.
It's
Comes out
how
of behavior.
grateful they are. It's how feminine they are. Flirting in the US, it depends on the girl, depends on a lot of situations, but at times it can feel like you're verbally sparring with them.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you
why?
got-
No, that's true.
why
No,
do you
that's
gotta put
true.
the gloves on.
That's facts.
He just called it out, bro.
That's
literally
facts.
it is bar for bar,
Bro.
Go ahead.
It is like holy feel, like the sweat, the sweat's flying off your.
Yo, it's banter for banter. It's like who has a better bantering technique? Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, whoever
Yeah.
control the other person
Yeah.
wins.
There's literally
I don't
girls
know.
that will sit there and purposely act like a bitch to you, and
That's
they
flirting.
think that that's cool. Like, oh, you're not witty enough or some
Yeah,
bullshit
yeah.
like that. And it's like, I don't want to sit here and have to fucking think about puns and make fun of the girl that I'm talking to, or come up with a witty remark to come up with your smart ass remarks. Like, it's annoying as fuck. But girls think that's cute here. In the United States, that's actually like that's a very Western thing.
Yeah.
British girls do that bullshit too.
Oh
You
my
could-
god.
you could-
British
Perfect.
girls do that a lot.
By making
As well.
jokes about it, laughing about it, just saying,
Yeah.
not let it bother you, but it is still there though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's annoying.
It's hella
Yeah.
annoying.
And it's only with American, Canadian, and fucking British girls,
British girls,
It's
bro.
like English speaking women
Yeah.
think it's funny to sit there and like try to like nudge you and go into like it's true. It's verbally sparring. Like, oh yeah, let me just come up with who could be a bigger smartass.
Do you want to banter?
Yeah, like and that's
we've
just annoying,
talked
bro.
about this with the Tate. Shout out to the
annoying.
Tate brothers.
Yeah.
They habitually buy flowers for the girls they're dating and bring them to the first date. What happens if you bring flowers to a first date
In
to a girl
America.
in Miami? She goes,
Yeah.
I can take
Yeah.
him for everything. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
So-
and here's the thing. I literally, so you know, it's funny, right? I made an Instagram reel on this, saying that bringing flowers on a first date will actually is a big L for you. I had a bunch of fucking bimbos commenting under my shit, talking shit like that's not true. You're bringing the wrong, blah 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 blah, and they don't understand that like Dave probably got flowers from a fucking guy before, and where did that guy end up?
Yeah.
In the friend zone.
I was
Like-
like, there's one clause if she actually likes the guy and that's her like ideal type off rip,
Yeah.
then it won't matter that much.
If the guy is so high value
But-
that she's intimidated by him,
Yeah.
then it could be a
but
good
as
move.
we know, most girls find guys unattractive.
And here's the other thing too that I've come to realize from talking to fucking thousands of girls. Anytime you talk about men to them, and you give them like a scenario, whatever, they always assume attraction.
Yes.
Like that's a terrible habit that females have.
Yeah.
Is they always assume attraction first, but they don't understand that like most guys aren't attracted to them in the first place. Like for them, they can't even fathom when you're talking about a guy bringing them flowers. In their head, when you say, "Oh yeah, bringing flowers on a date is stupid," they're thinking, "Well, it's my ideal guy. He's coming up to me, giving me flowers.
6
I'm on a
foot
date with him.
plus.
I like him, and he checks all my boxes. He brought flowers. Of course, I'm going to be attracted. But what they don't get is that the motherfuckers that's showing up with flowers a lot of the times is not a guy that they want.
Yeah.
That's why half these fucking get flowers on Valentine's Day, and they don't show the nigga that gave them the flowers.
And they're finessing them.
Yeah, and they're finessing them. So it's like, how many girls post on their Instagram stories of flowers from a guy, but they never show the guy? That should tell you what I'm trying to say. Girls love getting flowers, but when you talk about it, say you shouldn't buy girls the flowers, they get angry because in their mind, because they always have this bad habit, they assume the guy's attractive. They always assume attraction whenever you talk about male and female dynamics. They don't talk about the other 90% of guys that they see invisible. That's a terrible thing, a terrible habit that I've noticed from talking to girls on the podcast.